Hi everyone. Welcome to the very first podcast of CX Hack. And for CX Hack, it's a podcast that covers what is working for sales and marketing. So every episode, we will invite thought-provoking business and marketing leaders to unpack today's challenges and what are their common sense solutions to address these challenges. So for today's episode, I'm very happy to have the co-founder and CEO of the MediaShop, Jessica To, with us. So Jessica, welcome. And can you also introduce yourself with us? And how did you found MediaShop, like from employees to founder?
Hello, good morning, everybody. I'm Jessica. I'm actually the CEO and the co-founder of the MediaShop. So MediaShop has been around for 15 years. I think the best advice I could give to someone who wants to start a business is, usually people will talk about work for your passion. I just frankly, I feel that, besides working for your passion, what you need to do is to have a strong foundation. Now, most people probably do not know what you like, but you know what you do not like. So if you want to set up a company, have a very strong foundation, something that you have been doing, something you know about it, not just based on hearsay. And I feel that for an entrepreneur, for you to be successful, find a partner that definitely will complement your strength, because you can't be everything right to everybody. So you need to find a very strong partner that you could trust, and then, work out the strength and weaknesses that both you have and complement each other.
That sounds really good. But just for the readers, to provide some context, can you share with us, like, for media shops, who are your clients? And maybe I'm not very sure whether it's this sensitive, like what's the revenues that you have generated throughout the years, so that the readers behind, they can have a sense of an idea.
Okay, I think we are considered we are the only homegrown media agency. So maybe I'll just
In
go
Singapore?
back. In Singapore. We were very lucky when we first started. We have a lot of friends and the industry players, the veteran actually supported, because, kind of like two silly people who wants to set up a local media agency, right? So our revenue is not great, but it's substantial. And I think that it's a little sensitive to share,
But maybe you can share with us,
definitely in the millions. So some of our
okay.
clients over the last 15 years, we were very fortunate. We have worked with very good brands, tech company, because given with my background, which I was previously from a B2B marketing. And so we started with a lot of tech clients, and we do a lot of hardcore lead gen program for them. And then the strange thing about, when we first started as a media agency is that the local clients are a little bit more skeptical, because they are so used to working with the big agencies. It's actually those in the big agency clients, they are more comfortable to work with a small local kind of like startup, because they feel that, hey, I just want to see a result. If you can prove to me result, I don't really care much about the brand name. I care more about the person that's doing my project. So I think that's kind of like the change that we have seen over the years. Now that we are a bit like older, we are more than 10 years old, we actually see more local clients coming to us, and like government project. And of course, we do a lot of cross borders. We do a lot of international campaigns. Yeah.
So just to help me understand, I know that revenue could be sensitive for private companies, but what about from a small, humble 2-people operations? Like, how many people do you have right now?
We're still very small. We have less than 20 people, plus and minus about the numbers. So the company actually do full media, i.e. from the traditional media to all the way to digital marketing. So that's quite like, and in fact, when we first started, we are more digital than the traditional media.
So just allow me to dive in a little bit, right? As a founder of a company with 2-people operation in the early days, so what are some of the challenges that you face? I know you mentioned a bit about local company may not fully trust you, and it's the MMC that give you the chance. But I'm sure there are a lot more challenges that you face during those early days.
The early days, yeah, it was a fun early days, because it was just 2 of us. Most of the times we just kind of like do a humble job, and it reached a stage whereby it's kind of say we were not able to do big projects because of cash flow challenges and because of manpower. Even till today, we still face that problem as a local startup. Not say startup, as a local company. Although the most crucial is actually cash flow. I feel for most of the companies, when you first started in the first couple of years, right? Cash flow is actually a very key issue because the bank are not willing to give you any loans. You don't, I know there are people who kind of refinance their house just to kind of get themselves a little bit, to oil the company a little bit better. Given as a small setup, the bank loans interest actually high. So it doesn't even make sense to ask for a loan, right? You just eat into your profit. I think, and a lot of clients will not want to pay you on time. And then you have like media owners and the vendors are chasing you for money. So that's one. And second, I think it's talents. It's very hard to get good talent to join a local SME. So I mean, even for now, the issue is a little bit different now because people think that we are like the big agency. And when they join us, they expect to get the big agency salary. So I think that's the challenge that we have seen unfold over the last couple of years.
So what are some of the achievements that you're proud of in these 15 years of building a business?
So, of course, I think in the media industry, I think most people know who is the MediaShop. Like I mentioned earlier, right, a lot of the people who write in to join us, they feel that we are part of the big five or the big four. We were like, no, we are not that. We are just a local media shop. We have ventured into Australia, Taiwan, and China previously, but because of COVID, we kind of scaled back. And now that, thanks to COVID, a lot of things could be done like online. Like now you and I are doing this virtual interview, right, which seems rather impossible kind of before COVID. So we scaled down a little bit. But we are quite well known internationally. If you speak to any of the big if you speak to any of the independent media agency overseas, have you heard of MediaShop from Singapore? They'll probably tell you yes. So that's kind of something that I'm quite proud of. Yeah.
But Human, you definitely make Singapore proud to have its own media agency as well. So talking about media, I mean, since we are in these topics, can you unpack to us what is the current media landscapes that you are seeing?
I think in the last 15 years, of course, we definitely see a big major transformation from traditional media to digital, kind of digital transformation. But I'm not saying that traditional media are complete. As you can see, we are still TV, right? People are still watching like Netflix, and even the local player like MediaCorp have the kind of transfer themselves all into like you can still watch it on the digital TV. So I don't think that's going to go away. People are still listening to music, whether it's on the radio or whether it's on Spotify. Those are like digital transformation. And currently we see a lot of out-of-home players doing digital out-of-home. So that kind of like allows you to do more effective targeting. So I think in Singapore context, right, if we take a leaf from the overseas media owners, you will see that there will be more digital opportunity in that sense. And with big data, I think there's a lot more interesting than things that we could work with that in terms of kind of like effective targeting the audience. But having said that, I still feel that, human behavior is not something that you could control. Just like for myself, I'm a different person a month ago. My likes and dislikes are different. And actually with big data, what they may target me, right, was something that I liked a month ago rather than now. So if the big data could be even more immediate, right? Because sometimes there are things that I'm not interested. I'm not even privy to, right? But then I saw my friend wearing something. I hear my friend talking about it. I may be very interested. I will look for it. But if you base on big data, right, you probably could skip a big group of people who like, I know, kind of like the awareness, right? The trigger point. So if I think that's a kind of very lacking in, and frankly, I don't think that's ever going to happen to be so effective targeting, because I serve an ad on, I was searching for vacuum cleaner a month ago. And today, if you still target me on vacuum cleaner today, it's a little bit silly, right? Because I could have bought it already. So I just feel that, and that's where, which the other part we should talk about is how can we then create interest and not based on your.
And actually, you pointed out something really quite interesting, because as a marketeers, right, especially doing campaign management and demand gen, we are like very obsessed over the data part, like what is the ideal customer profile and where they go. Like if you look into tools like demand base, they will look into the topics on the websites that, of your company website that they search, and so on and so forth. But you just pointed out something really interesting, whereby what I search today doesn't mean that I will be interested in this anymore. And you also mentioned that instead of basing on the data which you think this is what I'm interested in, it's really about how to create interest that draws people in. So these are two things that is related, although it's separated. So I'm really very interested to hear from you. Like, what is your advice to the marketing leaders, right? If like I want to run omni-channel programs right now, how much emphasis or priorities should I look into the data part of it? Or should I give a, like what you mentioned, a timestamp, like this is a 1 week old data, so I should not look at it anymore? Is there like a benchmark?
I'm not sure about the benchmark, but I just feel that if you put a dollars to it, right, or a percentage, right, if it's anything that's more than a week, you shouldn't, I mean, definitely a month ago, you should put a very, very little emphasis. A week ago, maybe. The most important is the last 2-3 days. The other interesting part is like, is there a potential to target people that you think may eventually be your target audience? That could be like, again, then that's where you go into like what previously, like a brand campaign, right? A brand campaign means I target everybody. I don't care whether you need it now or not. But in the event that one day you need it, then yes, you remember who I am. Yeah. So that I think it could be like what Samsung is doing, like just do a big campaign, like the full campaign that Samsung is doing. So
Talking about the full okay, so the audience may not have the context of the full campaign. Let me do a quick search and share on the screen, right, what it looks like. Maybe they'll provide some context as to what that means. Okay, sharing the screen now. Let me play. Okay, so there's no audio, I suppose, but you can see that it is for a phone, folded phone, and they put it onto a bus, and it's a folded bus.
They basically recreated the bus into the London bus into a L-shaped 90-degree like the full phone, and they renamed the entire station into Full Street station. So again, what is the immediate ROI for this, right? It's a little bit different. You can't put a dollar and cents to it, right? I'm not sure even on that day they sell any phone, but this is what you deem as, I want to target someone that eventually be interested in my product. So there's a brand equity to it. So if you're going to put like a marketer, right? I think a lot of the marketer today are very fixated with the return of advertising dollars, especially for those B2B marketeers like yourself, right? But I think a lot of them has like missed out the point on brand equity. The reason why some of the famous companies that used to tell you that, I don't do any branding anymore, I do only lead gen. But that's because of the brand equity that they built over the last couple of years, right? So you enjoy.
But what do you say to, sorry to interject. What do you say to people? Because sometimes we are measured by measure results based on a quarterly basis, right? I mean, we all have to go into quarterly business review and then answer to our stakeholder how we spend our money, and then see what kind of results, what kind of results that we generated for the business and how we support the sales and the company goals. But how do you talk to your potential clients who are facing these issues on a day-to-day basis?
I think it's very hard because a company always expect that you turn in a revenue of like 20% or 10% more than what you did last quarter or last year, right? But it is, I think fundamentally, you still need to go back to look at your product innovation. So if you do not have a good product, right, even you do a kick-ass marketing campaign, it's not going to help you with your result. But I think the obsess about driving revenue, right, on a not so great product, right, is actually very challenging. I mean, it is probably a chicken and egg issue, and I think the stakeholders have to understand that, right? Given that there are a lot of similar products, or if you do not have a distinctive product advantage or competitive over your competitors, is unlikely to sustain unless they have brand loyalty. Yeah.
So it still go back to the fundamental as what Warren Buffett says, like building the moats, right? MOAT. Like as long as you have that, you can still ring fence and sustains the business and profitability. But then
I think if you look
product,
at two areas is like a B2B or B2C, right? If you're talking about B2C purchase, a lot of the B2C purchase are very irrational. I like it, it's pretty, I buy. So I think then it depends on how what sort of marketing you are doing, right? Like the
No,
Samsung ad is
actually, I'll challenge that. To me,
sure.
having been in B2B marketing for the past 20 over years, right, I realized one thing as well, that B2B buyer is emotional as well. The difference is that they will buy based on emotions, but they'll rationalize after they click the purchase. So the rationalization comes in at the later stage. Whereas B2B is purely, B2C is purely emotional. I've
Okay,
seen
I think
many
I
people.
think if you feel that B2B, because I thought usually for B2B purchase is that you will compare specs, right? Specs to
Mm,
specs, and that. But if you feel that some of them are if you feel that your customers, based on your experience, could be irrational because they have very good relationship with salesperson, right? Because B2B has a longer term of like converting customers. If you feel that they have affinity with the salesperson or that they are more irrational, then it kind of even make more sense, right? That
yeah.
you should structure your campaign to appeal to the emotive stage.
So exactly right. So for a person to make the decisions is is multi-layered. The whole ecosystem is built not just on salespersons alone. Like what I mentioned, is the emotive state of what your brand is. Do they trust the brand? Do they think that because most B2B buyers, they expect things to work. If I buy something, it has to work and it has to stay with me for X number of years. It cannot
Mm.
just broke down within the next day. So that kind of loyalty and trust needs to be there, and that's where a lot of marketing comes in. And that's where the positioning, the messaging, and how we explain the value propositions really come in to build that emotion and that engagement and attachment. Then, of course, you also have your partner ecosystems whereby they can implement and support and maintain throughout the whole life cycles of of whether it's the software or the hardware of the solutions that you provide. So that's how I normally see the whole, if I look at the whole pie, right, that's what it really takes. That's also the reason why I think B2B is an emotive purchasing decision as well. And that's where I think that marketing can really come into support. And same as media as well.
Yeah, I think you have nailed it. It's like then how do you use that to support your marketing, right? Because then I think in terms of the use of digital, because we talk about big data, right? I mean the use of digital is how it could help you to knew your customer. Yeah. I
So
mean,
so that's where things gets really very interesting, right? Because in the current stage, we are still very digital. We are still very, and then of course there's traditional media as well. But with this, do you see any recent changes to the media landscapes that uh pop up and say that the behavior has changed?
I think the most prevalent one is actually the emergence of AI. With that, you can see that in terms of the commercials, a lot of AI would be used. Like recently, I just saw an Adidas ad. Maybe you could like to play.
Okay, just
Which
give
use
me
100% AI. I mean, it's not a real ad. It's a production company that actually put up this ad to show that it could be done 100% with AI. So this is actually a 100% AI ad, but it's not a real ad. I think a production company actually produced that. So what that's leave in terms of us as a digital, right, is then I think it will change some of the workforce. I think that was one of the key
one.
things that people are talking about. AI replacing human beings in a lot of things. So does it mean that us as a 100% media agency, because we are only a media agency, we don't do creative, right? Does it mean that I can go into creative or advertising, or does it mean that you can produce your own in-house commercial for the marketeers without like spending huge dollars on doing commercial production? So I think that would be a key area. And in terms for the talents management, then you don't really need to hire a designer, for example, or you just need to hire a creative director, right? And prompters, people who put in the prompts, like I want colorful, I want what colors, I want this, So that I think could do a shake up to the entire ecosystem within the advertising agency as well as the marketing side of things for most of the clients.
So yeah, you just stumble on something really quite interesting, and I know that most people are aware. I mean, start to aware that be aware that AI is indeed something that is coming out. So um what I'm looking at is that if you look at Google, digital campaign, right, the channel is always Google search and social media marketing. So with And people are also changing the way they start searching. The search behavior is different right now. They go into ChatGPT, they go into all these other things that they look at. So as a media company, how would you advise the marketing leaders that, okay, where's the new channels right now? Like, how can we reach out to our customers who may not even go into some of these so-called traditional digital channels?
Actually, we are doing a lot more like I think for sorry, let me rephrase. Okay, so like you just show two videos, right? One is on YouTube, which is created by a production company, and one is actually on Instagram, which is again by a content person. It's not from your traditional media owners anymore. So as you can see, a lot of what you deem as the KOC or the KOL, right, are basically where the contents people are pushing. Personally, I feel that that's where a lot of the contents will be in, where people search. They go TikTok to search. They go Chat GPT to search, rather than using the traditional Google search. I mean, Google has started to implement some of the AI things, which is great. I think we still need some time to see how this will impact the market, because every generation grow up with different things, whether the way they search for information. So we are exploring a lot of what we deem as white spaces for our clients now, which is what we never used to do, and to test out the different results. I mean, digital is so fast, right? Like whatever I'm talking now, it could be outdated by tomorrow. So I think that's the reason why I'm just do some plugging for myself. That's why I feel that a lot of marketers should try to have an open mind to work with an agency or media agency, because like for us, we are exposed with different ways of working or unfolding, or like, digging up ways to help to improve a campaign. Because if you do everything in-house, it's quite, I'm not saying that the in-house are not good, but if you do a lot in-house, you're not exposed to what other clients are doing. And those things could potentially be quite interesting and bring value to the table. Yeah.
So coming to that, right? I mean, usually when things change so fast, as you mentioned, there's usually two types of strategy anyone can employ. One is, okay, like for example, Google search maybe less people go to Google search, but there will still be a big majority of people who are still going to Google search at this point. So it's all about how can you do things faster and cheaper to improve your ROI, because you know that the number of search is slowly coming down, but you can still yield a certain high percentage of ROI if you can get it cheaper and faster. And second thing will be what you just mentioned, looking into things, doing things differently. So you have mentioned a couple of the things there. I mean, like the advertisements and all that. So what else can marketing leaders look at in the future to see how they can do? What are the things that they can do today that is different? So these are the two questions I do have in mind. How can we make it faster, cheaper, and what are the things you can do differently? Yeah, exactly. That's like the perfect
Yeah.
strategy.
I think that the marketeers cannot be lazy. First of all, there's no more such thing as that you do a 1-year plan and just leave it to someone to run the campaign. But those are not going to work. Even on a quarterly basis, that's not going to work. And I think we talk about like searches and whatever. It really depends on the type of campaign and your target audience, right? So like you mentioned, right, some searches, some people still do search. Some people do this. So it really depends on the type of the spread that you want to do, right? And you should be nimble about the budget. And I think the marketeer has to be very open-minded. I do come across people who are like, will tell me, I don't watch TV anymore, or I'm not even on TikTok. It's not about you, right? It's about your target audience. And we have like clients who tell us that, I went on I put an ad, and we run some programmatic and said, why is my ad not showing? I'm like, but we are not on my target audience. So I think these are very, very simple, fundamental things that some of the marketers are still not getting it, So it also depends on where you are at the funnel, right? In terms of knowing the digital media and how it could work in your favor. So I think it's a very, very big topic, and it's a very challenging one. A lot of people will tell you that I'm not on Facebook, but that's not true, because your target audience may be on Facebook. We have also seen clients tell us that, I'm running a B2B campaign. I don't want to run on social media. I don't want to run on such social media. But as an individual, it doesn't matter whether I'm a CEO of this company or not, right? A CEO doesn't really mean that I play golf every day. I could be doing gardening, I could be in other interests. So I think it's more about, targeting the audience and not the platform. So we go back to, I think, what we talked about initially, right? Like, I am not who I am a month ago. Then how do you capture me, the ever evolving and ever moving person that you want to target? So that would be the challenge, I feel. Yeah.
I think you did mention something really resonate and with me, and it's really very interesting. Like to really crystallize this conversation, right? It's all about looking into the ICP, the ideal customer profile, who they are, focus on the target audience, and have a multi segmented uh approach, going to different channels, be very customized and be very personalized during these changes, or rather, I would call it the transition phase of traditional digital media moving into AI. Because AI, honestly speaking, is still not mature at this point. But we do see pockets of people moving towards that directions, and we do not want to also ignore them as well. Yeah.
I really think that human behaviors are strange. Like recently, I just read an article about, how bookshops are making millions of dollars, like billions of dollars, are like alive again, because people are sick and tired of everything digital. They just want to go to a physical place. They want to flip the books. They want to smell the books, So it is, we have to constantly watch out for such trend, so that, I think that's make marketing interesting, is you never know exactly how a human behavior is going to be like, because there's always a tipping point, right? And we don't know where
Yeah.
is the tipping point. Yeah.
It's still going back to the basic or the fundamentals, because marketing is basically talking to people, and where and people changes. And I totally agree with you. It's like I was the day I went to one of those vinyl record shops, and I was talking to the sales owner. They were saying that right now vinyl record is selling like crazy. There's so many vinyl record shops coming. I mean, that was like my
Exactly.
parents' stuff.
Yeah, exactly. I think the nostalgic things are coming back, and it's a different feel lah. I feel that, I think that's where the interesting part is. Like, you never know when it's coming back as a trend.
Yeah, that's why we always need agency support like yourself, right? And the media, who are really at the front end of everything. So to really
We
help
also
to
learn from
advise and guide
clients.
us.
We also learn from clients. Yeah.
I'm quite sure. So I just want to stir the conversation a little bit different. So I was thinking, I mean, we have had a very heavy and very informative conversation, and I'm really very thankful and appreciate these sessions with you. So why not we just change gear and move to something a bit lighter? Uh, like I was thinking, or maybe we can ask some rapid questions, and then just to see, and you can answer, some of the more personal questions, that comes to your mind, like what so are you ready for that?
Sure. Testing my
Okay.
reaction.
Okay, we'll start with the rapid question. Next question: what is your go-to karaoke song?
Wow. My closing karaoke song is Honya.
What is that?
It's like Hakan Lee, it also did
Oh.
红日 Honya.
Oh, okay. That's interesting. So what's the most unusual thing you have ever eaten?
Oh, this is so repeat already. Unusual thing that I have ever eaten. No,
Nothing? You are not adventurous in food? Snakes, crocodiles, kangaroo?
kangaroo pizza. But that's not very unusual, I feel. But I have eaten kangaroo pizza.
But it's your unusual thing lah. It's like you don't
Okay,
really try.
okay.
Yeah. So that's fine. Like, it's not based on
No, it's fine,
other
it's fine.
people's standard. Okay, if you could swap lives with any fictional character for a day, who would it be?
Fictional.
Whether Marvel's heroes or book, or
Doraemon.
that would be fun. Well, thank you so much for your time. I think we have ended today's session, and I'm really looking forward to it. So
Okay, I think I
Thank you,
can do the
Jack.
first one already.
Okay, which one?
The first question. Yeah.
No, it's okay. It's over. That's what rapid question is for.
All right. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you all, and we'll see you in our next CX Hack episode. Looking forward to it. Please subscribe. Thank you.
Thank
Bye.
you.